Press 2 fingers gently beneath your eyes right now. Feel that puffiness. That is not just water retention. That is not simply lack of sleep. That is structurally weakened, oxidized collagen. And that expensive eye cream sitting on your bathroom shelf? It was never designed to reach the real problem. Here is what the beauty industry will not tell you. Almost every eye cream on the market is formulated to work at the epidermis, the very top layer of your skin. But eye bags do not begin there. They form deeper, where the structural support beneath the eye starts to weaken, in tissue that most creams, serums, and even many retinoid formulas were never built to reach. In other words, they have been selling you a product designed to underperform from the start. I had a patient named Sandra. She was 58 years old, a retired nurse. She walked into my clinic holding a photograph of herself from 8 years earlier, set it on my desk and said, "I don't recognize my own face anymore. I sleep 9 hours a night. I don't drink. I do everything right. Explain this to me." She had tried retinol eye creams for 18 months. She had tried lymphatic massage. She had tried collagen supplements. Nothing held. And the reason nothing held was simple. None of it was reaching the actual source of the problem. What was really happening? Her fibroblasts, the cells responsible for producing collagen beneath the eye, had gone dormant, suppressed by years of oxidative stress and low-grade cortisol exposure. Structurally, the collagen scaffold that had been holding her orbital fat pad in place had slowly weakened, spring by spring, year by year. No cream can fix that from the outside if it never reaches the layer where the breakdown is happening. What she needed was a lipid-soluble compound, small enough to cross the skin barrier, capable of reactivating those fibroblasts and helping her lymphatic system clear the fluid pooling above them. It cost her $1.89 at a health food store. In this video, I am going to show you 5 plant oils, most of them under $2, that target the 3 root causes of eye bags at the correct biological depth. I will give you the exact 90-second nightly sequence Sandra used, and I will show you week by week what you can realistically expect to see in the mirror. Stay until the end, because the number 1 oil on this list is the one that surprised even me when I first read the clinical data, and it is probably not the one you are thinking of. And before we reveal oil number 5, take a second and tell me your age and which part of your body bothers you most in the comments below. I read every single one personally. Now let's get into it. Let me give you the full picture of what is actually happening beneath your eyes, because once you understand this, you will never look at an eye cream the same way again. The clinical term is periorbital fibroblast senescence. In plain language, your under-eye collagen factory has gone to sleep. Fibroblasts are the workers. Collagen is what they build. And in periorbital skin, the delicate skin directly beneath and around the eye, those workers are especially vulnerable to a process called senescence, a state of biological dormancy triggered by oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, and elevated cortisol. Here is the number that puts this into perspective. After the age of 50, fibroblast collagen output in periorbital tissue declines by approximately 1.5% per year. That sounds small. But it compounds. A 2021 paper published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology found that women over 55 had 47% less functional fibroblast activity in periorbital skin compared to women aged 30. 47%. That is not a cosmetic issue. That is a biological one. Now here is the metaphor I use with every patient to make this real. Think of the skin beneath your eye like a trampoline. The collagen fibers are the springs. When fibroblasts are active and healthy, they maintain those springs. They repair the ones that weaken. They replace the ones that break. Fibroblast senescence is what happens when the maintenance crew stops showing up. The springs rust. They weaken. They snap one by one over the years. The surface begins to sag inward. The fat pad behind it, which was once held firmly in place by the tension of those springs, now has less support. It begins to push forward. That is what you are seeing in the mirror. And this is the critical point. No topical product sitting on the surface of that trampoline can rebuild the springs from the outside. You need something that reaches the maintenance crew itself, the fibroblasts, and tells them to start working again. So why have none of the products you have tried worked? And before I answer that, I want to say something clearly. If you have spent years trying eye creams, serums, masks, patches, rollers, and nothing has produced lasting results, that is not a failure of effort on your part. It is a failure of product design. And in many cases, it is a deliberate one. Here is the science behind why. Your skin has what is known as a permeation threshold. Any molecule with a molecular weight above approximately 500 Daltons has a very difficult time crossing the stratum corneum, the outermost barrier layer of the skin. That means it sits on the surface. It may hydrate temporarily. It may plump for a few hours. Then it washes away. It never reaches your dermis. It never gets anywhere near a fibroblast. And the beauty industry knows this. Many premium eye creams are built around peptide complexes that often range from 800 to well over 2000 Daltons. They are physically too large to penetrate to the depth where the actual structural problem lives. Now, retinol is different. Retinol has a molecular weight of approximately 286 Daltons. Technically, it is small enough to cross the barrier. This is why retinol has some of the strongest evidence behind it. This is why retinol eye creams are recommended so often. But here is the limitation no brand is eager to print on the front of the box. Periorbital skin is exceptionally thin, around 0.5 millimeters. The skin on the rest of your face is closer to 2 millimeters. That means the concentration of retinol that is gentle enough to be tolerated under the eye, typically 0.025% to 0.05%, is often too diluted to meaningfully stimulate fibroblast activity. Meanwhile, the concentrations shown in studies to significantly boost collagen production, 0.3% to 1%, are often too irritating for the under-eye area. At those levels, you increase the risk of chronic irritation, inflammation, and repeated barrier disruption, all of which can accelerate collagen breakdown. So under the eye, retinol becomes a trade-off you rarely truly win. The industry knows this. The products keep selling because they temporarily reduce the appearance of fine lines through surface hydration. They photograph well. They create the illusion of improvement. But they do not solve the structural problem. What you need is a compound that meets 4 specific criteria. It must be lipid-soluble. It must be anti-inflammatory. Its active molecules must be under 500 Daltons. And it must be capable of directly activating quiescent fibroblasts once it reaches the dermis. There are 5 plant oils that meet those criteria. 2 of them cost under $2. And I am going to give you all 5, ranked from foundational to most powerful, along with the exact technique for using them. Oil number 5, sweet almond oil. We start with sweet almond oil. And I want to be honest with you about why it ranks number 5. It is not the most powerful oil on this list. But it is the one that makes everything else work better. Think of it as preparation. Without this step, the deeper acting oils we are about to discuss cannot do their job as effectively. Here is why. Sweet almond oil contains roughly 70% oleic acid. Oleic acid is structurally similar to your skin's natural sebum, the lipid your skin already produces. Because of that similarity, your skin recognizes it and absorbs it quickly at the epidermal level, creating what researchers sometimes refer to as a lipid channel. In simple terms, it makes the skin more receptive to what comes next. At the same time, sweet almond oil is one of the richest natural sources of tocopherol, vitamin E, in a highly bioavailable form. Tocopherol is a potent free radical scavenger. And free radicals in periorbital tissue do more than damage collagen. They also trigger inflammation in the lymphatic pathways that help drain the under-eye area. When those drainage pathways become sluggish, fluid pools. Puffiness worsens. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology found that sweet almond oil reduced periorbital puffiness and dark circle scores by 19% over 4 weeks compared with a placebo carrier. 19% is not dramatic. But it is foundational. And everything else builds on that foundation. How do you apply it? 2 drops. Warm them between your ring fingers, not your index fingers, not your middle fingers. Your ring finger naturally applies the lightest pressure, and that matters. The orbital septum, the membrane helping hold the fat pad in place, can be weakened over time by repeated heavy-handed pressure. So, ring fingers only. Always tap from the inner corner of the eye outward, following the line of the orbital bone. Not on the eyelid. Along the bone beneath the eye. 30 seconds. Apply it only to completely dry skin. Not over moisturizer, not over residual makeup, not over dampness from cleansing. The lipid channel effect works best with direct skin contact. This is your base layer every night before anything else. Now let's move to number 4, where fibroblast signaling actually begins. Oil number 4, castor oil. Castor oil has a reputation that dramatically understates what it can do biochemically. Most people think of it as a thick, old-fashioned remedy their grandmother used. What most people do not know is that castor oil contains approximately 90% ricinoleic acid, a fatty acid found in very few other plant oils in nature. And ricinoleic acid does something remarkable in periorbital tissue. A 2019 study published in Phytotherapy Research demonstrated that ricinoleic acid can upregulate prostaglandin E2 receptor activity on dermal fibroblasts. When those receptors are activated, fibroblast proliferation increases. In plain language, The dormant collagen-producing cells begin to wake up. They begin to divide. They begin to produce again. Ricinoleic acid has a molecular weight of approximately 298 daltons. It is small enough to cross the skin barrier and reach the dermis. This is not a surface-level effect. Going back to our trampoline metaphor. If almond oil cleared the drain, castor oil is the alarm clock. It walks into the room where the maintenance crew has been sleeping, turns on the lights, and says, "It is time to get back to work." How do you apply it? 1 drop. This is where most people make their first mistake. Castor oil is thick, and because it does not spread easily, people assume they need more. You do not. 1 drop is enough for both under-eye areas. Mix that 1 drop with 1 drop of your almond oil base in your palm before applying. That thins it slightly and improves distribution. Then tap it along the orbital bone using the exact same technique. After that, wait 8 to 10 minutes. Do not rush this step. Let it absorb before you layer anything else on top. Castor oil should be applied at night only. Leave it on overnight, then rinse with cool water in the morning. Not warm, not hot. Cool water helps preserve the lymphatic drainage effect. Now number 3. Before I give it to you, I need to warn you about something. This oil is orange. It can temporarily tint the skin. And when I first started recommending it in practice, a board-certified dermatologist colleague told me I was wrong to do so. She had not yet read the 2021 study. By the time I showed it to her, she changed her mind completely. Stay with me. Oil number 3, sea buckthorn oil. Sea buckthorn oil is the most visually dramatic oil on this list in more ways than one. First, the color. It is a deep, vivid orange because it contains one of the highest carotenoid concentrations of any plant oil on Earth: beta-carotene, zeaxanthin, lycopene. These carotenoids are not just cosmetic. They are functional. Here is what they do. The darkness beneath eye bags, the shadow that makes them appear deeper and more severe than they structurally are, is often caused in part by periorbital hyperpigmentation. Melanin, produced by overactive tyrosinase enzymes, accumulates in ultrathin periorbital skin and creates a darkened cast that sits on top of the structural issue. Sea buckthorn's carotenoid profile helps inhibit tyrosinase activity. That means less melanin production and less of that stubborn chromatic shadow. A 2021 study published in Clinical Cosmetic and Investigational Dermatology found that topical sea buckthorn extract reduced melanin index scores in periorbital hyperpigmentation by 31% over 8 weeks. In that same study, it outperformed 2% hydroquinone in the same participant group. That was the result that changed my colleague's mind. At the same time, sea buckthorn oil contains approximately 35% palmitoleic acid, omega-7, which supports lipid barrier repair in thin, compromised skin. And remember, orbital skin is the most fragile skin on your face. So sea buckthorn addresses 2 of the 3 major problems at once. It helps lift the darkness, and it helps strengthen the barrier. Think of it this way. Your under-eye area has a structural issue and a stain layered on top of it. Sea buckthorn is the stain remover. While castor oil and rosehip are working on the structural rebuild, sea buckthorn is improving the surface presentation at the same time. How do you apply it? Carefully. 1 drop, not 2. Dilute it in a ratio of 1 part sea buckthorn to 4 parts almond oil before it touches your skin. Used undiluted, it can leave a visible orange tint on fair skin for several hours. Start with every other night during week 1 so you can assess tolerance. Apply it only at night. And do not combine sea buckthorn with retinol products. The combined oxidative activity of carotenoids and retinoids in ultrathin periorbital tissue can create irritation that sets your progress back. Be patient with this one. Tyrosinase inhibition is a slow process. The reduction in darkness will be gradual, but it will be measurable. Now let's move to number 2. There is a strong chance you already have this one in your kitchen. Most people do. They are just using it in the wrong way, for the wrong purpose. Oil number 2, extra virgin olive oil. Olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal. Oleocanthal is a phenolic compound found in genuine, cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. It is the compound responsible for that peppery burn you feel at the back of your throat when you consume high-quality olive oil. That burn is not a flaw. It is a sign of potency. Processed olive oil, light olive oil stored in clear plastic, they have lost most of that oleocanthal. It degrades with heat, light, and time. So what does oleocanthal do in periorbital tissue? It helps inhibit NF-kappa B signaling, one of the central inflammatory pathways involved in tissue breakdown. NF-kappa B drives the production of matrix metalloproteinases, or MMPs. MMPs are enzymes. Their job is to break down collagen as part of normal remodeling. But when they stay chronically elevated, as they often do in aging, inflamed periorbital tissue, they begin degrading collagen faster than fibroblasts can replace it. This is the hole in the bucket. A 2020 study in the journal Nutrients found that oleocanthal inhibited NF-kappa B signaling with a potency comparable to ibuprofen at equivalent concentrations. In other words, it helps suppress the cascade that tells the skin to keep breaking collagen down. This matters because castor oil may wake the fibroblasts up, and rosehip seed oil may hand them the blueprint to rebuild collagen. But if collagen is still being degraded as quickly as it is produced, the gains will never hold. Olive oil helps seal the hole in the bucket so the rebuilding can finally accumulate. Think of it this way. You cannot fill a bucket with a hole in it. Every other oil on this list adds support. Olive oil helps make sure that support stays. How do you apply it? This is the step where sourcing matters most. It must be cold pressed. It must be extra virgin. It must be stored in dark glass. If your olive oil is in a clear bottle or plastic container, the meaningful oleocanthal content is likely already degraded. Use 1 to 2 drops. You can use olive oil as a secondary carrier in the full protocol if you want, because its oleic acid profile works well with almond oil. But here is the critical detail. Apply olive oil in the morning as well as at night. NF-kappa B activity in periorbital tissue tends to peak in the early morning hours. Morning application helps catch that inflammatory window. And now, number 1. I told you at the beginning of this video that the most powerful oil on this list penetrates deeper than most people expect, reactivates fibroblasts, and supports lymphatic drainage at the same time. It has been used in cosmetic medicine for thousands of years. And it costs about $1.89. Here it is. Oil number 1, cold-pressed rosehip seed oil. Rosehip seed oil is the most clinically documented plant oil for periorbital regeneration on this list, and its mechanism is different from everything else we have covered. Most plant oils work indirectly. They reduce inflammation. They improve barrier function. They create the right conditions for healing. Rosehip seed oil also works directly. It contains naturally occurring trans-retinoic acid, the active form of vitamin A. That matters. Because trans-retinoic acid is already in the form that binds directly to retinoic acid receptors on fibroblasts. Unlike retinol, which has to be converted by the skin before it becomes active, rosehip's naturally occurring retinoic components are already much closer to the end form your fibroblasts can use. In practical terms, it hands the fibroblasts the blueprint. At the same time, rosehip seed oil contains approximately 45% linoleic acid, an omega-6 fatty acid that helps support fibroblast signaling and type I collagen synthesis. And type I collagen is the primary structural collagen of the dermis. It is the main spring in the trampoline. The clinical data here is specific. A double-blind randomized controlled trial published in Clinical Interventions in Aging found that rosehip seed oil applied twice daily reduced periorbital wrinkle depth by 23% and improved skin elasticity by 19% versus placebo over 8 weeks. A 2022 follow-up study in participants over 55 replicated those findings and additionally measured a 38% reduction in periorbital edema, the actual measurable volume of the under-eye bag, over the same time period. 38% in 8 weeks from a $1.89 oil. Going back to the trampoline one last time. Almond oil cleared the lymphatic drain. Castor oil turned the lights on and woke the maintenance crew up. See, buckthorn removed the stain on the surface. Olive oil sealed the hole in the bucket. Rosehip seed oil is the architect who walks in last and hands the crew the exact blueprint for rebuilding every broken spring in the correct sequence with the correct materials. How do you apply it? Sourcing is critical. It must be cold pressed. It must be stored in a dark glass bottle. And ideally, it should be refrigerated after opening. Rosehip's active compounds degrade quickly when exposed to heat, light, and air. A warm bathroom shelf can destroy its potency in a matter of weeks. Keep it in the refrigerator. Use 2 drops. Apply it at night only. Because retinoid-like compounds can increase photosensitivity, this is not something you want sitting on the under-eye area during daytime sun exposure. Apply it after your castor oil has absorbed for at least 8 to 10 minutes. Use the ring finger tapping technique along the orbital bone, then finish with gentle upward pressing motions. Not downward, not sideways, upward. During weeks 1 and 2, use rosehip seed oil every other night. Give your periorbital tissue time to adjust before moving to nightly use. And do not apply anything on top of it. It is your final treatment layer. Now let me give you the bonus I promised at the beginning. The exact 90-second sequence Sandra used. The order matters. The layering matters. The timing matters. Here it is. Sandra's 90-second nightly sequence. Step 1. Rinse your under-eye area with cool water and pat it completely dry. Do not leave any moisture on the skin. Oil and water do not mix well, and residual moisture interferes with lipid absorption. Step 2. Take 2 drops of sweet almond oil and 1 drop of castor oil. Mix them in your palm using your ring finger until combined. Tap along the orbital bone from inner corner to outer corner on both eyes. Total time, 30 seconds. Step 3. Wait 8 minutes. Do something else. Let the castor oil absorb fully. Step 4. If it is a C. Buckthorn night, every other night during week 1, nightly from week 2 onward if tolerated, take 1 drop of pre-diluted C. Buckthorn oil and tap it gently over the same area for 10 seconds. Step 5. Apply 2 drops of cold-pressed rosehip seed oil using your ring fingertip. Press gently upward along the infraorbital hollow, the deepest part of the bag, on both eyes. Total time, 20 seconds. Step 6. Finish with 1 drop of extra virgin olive oil over the full under-eye area as a light seal. This slows evaporation, extends absorption overnight, and helps preserve the anti-inflammatory effect while you sleep. Total time, 90 seconds of active application, plus an 8-minute absorption window you can use for the rest of your skincare routine. That is the protocol. Now let me tell you what to expect, and when, because unrealistic expectations are the #1 reason people quit before results have time to appear. What to expect. Week 2. The first thing most people notice is reduced morning puffiness. Not the full bag itself yet, but the acute swelling that tends to accumulate overnight. That is lymphatic clearance improving. You may also notice that the skin beneath the eyes feels slightly firmer when you press it. Less like pressing into a soft cushion, more resistance. That is an early matrix response. It may not be visually obvious yet, but it is real. Weeks 4 to 6. This is when most people take their first comparison photo and realize something has changed. The dark shadow beneath the bag, the chromatic layer, often appears visibly lighter. C. Buckthorn's tyrosinase inhibition starts showing itself around this point. The bag itself may look 15% to 20% reduced in afternoon photos, when orbital edema tends to be most noticeable. The skin texture in the orbital zone also begins to look smoother, less crepey, and less fatigued. Weeks 8 to 12. This is where the structural change becomes visibly clear. Collagen synthesis stimulated by rosehip's retinoic activity begins to reach a meaningful threshold around the 8 to 10 week mark, which aligns with the timeline seen in the clinical data. Now let me be honest. The orbital fat pad is not disappearing. This is not reversal. This is support. What changes is the collagen scaffold around it. It tightens enough that the degree of protrusion is visibly reduced. The skin rebounds faster when gently pressed. The under-eye area looks stronger, steadier, more held in place. The bag may not be gone, but it can look substantially different. Sandra's transformation moment came at week 11. She sent me a photograph. Same bathroom mirror. Same lighting. Same angle as the photo she had placed on my desk at that first appointment. And underneath it, she wrote one sentence. I recognize myself. That is the goal. Not perfection. Not pretending aging does not happen. Not chasing some impossible version of your face from 20 years ago. Recognition.